Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this session, our next session, our first session, well, second session, I'm sorry, of the afternoon. Having so many, I'm getting lost with, and so many great presentations I've been seeing so far today, and hopefully you've been seeing great ones today and yesterday as well. Want to first of all thank our sponsors. These sponsors are the ones that make this possible. We are being able to provide this free of charge to everybody because of these sponsors. So if you know any of these people working for these organizations that you see on the screen there, Panda Consultant, Tallahassee, Lyon County GIS, and Esri, please do give them a thank you for sponsoring us so that we can provide this virtual conference. We weren't sure if we're going to be able to do a conference workshop this year or not, but thanks to their help, we are able to. Just a few housekeeping things. The questions, you'll see a question box, and that's if you do have a question, just type your question in there. I do find it better that when you have that question, go ahead and type it in at the times, and we will get to the questions at the end, and don't wait till the end to type it in because you might forget what it is. I also believe there's going to be some links that will be shared in that question box. So do take a look at there for the links that possibly going to be shared in that area as well. As we get started here, I want to welcome Erin McCormick with Navigation Electronics, Inc. To the session. It's going to be talking about the Trimble TDC 150 GNSS Outdoor Virtual Demo with the TerraFlex and laser offset. Now, if that is not a cool title for a presentation, I don't know what. So I'm going to change the presenter so that Erin can take control. And Erin, it should be yours.
Oh, okay, great. Let me, we were just practicing, so I'm hoping that I do this right here. Okay. Yeah, so hi everyone, thanks for joining. If anybody has any questions afterwards, I'll be here as well. You know, I'm gonna show this, created a video. Actually, my counterpart in Alabama, she created this fantastic demonstration video. This is kind of a, you know, a lot of time we haven't been able to do a lot of this, and I have an intro to my video that says a lot of this too. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you know, we are going out and meeting with folks, you know, outside, socially distanced, and you know, if anybody's interested. But this is just kind of an example of what, you know, we haven't been able to do a lot of this year, unfortunately. So this is just a nice example. This is kind of what we normally do when we go and meet with customers and meet outside. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video, and then I'm going to stop sharing my video, and then I'll come back afterwards and be available for questions. And I do mention in here that this is the settings for the Alabama DOT RTK network, so it is different in Florida. And for those of you that are online, there is going to be a change coming to the settings for the Florida DOT network as well. So if you're on it and you have a login and registration, you should have gotten an email from them, so talking about them changing the IP address. I think they said December 5th is when it's going to happen. So just preemptively letting people know, because once that happens, hopefully people are paying attention, or it'll be a very, very busy day for me indeed. So so without further ado here, I'm going to go ahead and show the video here, and then I'll be around to answer questions as well. See if I can do this. Is that showing up as full screen when I do this? Okay, that was the video there. I'm gonna show my camera one more time. So that's, yeah, some of the things that she showed in there too. You know, some of the advantages of TerraFlex, you know, are you know, you can post process with it. Use the laser rangefinder. I know post processing is a big thing for a lot of customers. They maybe work in remote areas where they don't have a cell signal, so they can't. For those of you that are outside of our network here in Florida, and yeah, and we have all of that workflow documented on how to set everything up. My neighbor is sanding a door next door right now, so I apologize for that. But we have all that workflow documented. So anything that you have any questions about with that, and then also, of course, the TDC 150 works with the Esri suite of apps as well. So it's you know, works with the collector and survey 123 and all of that as well. So you know, if anyone has any questions about using that, and I was going to try to share a link to our YouTube. I'm not sure if I'm able to do that. I put it on there though, so Dwayne, if you're able to share it to everyone, but we have this video documented on our YouTube channel, and then we have other demonstrations as well. And you know, I did one recently with the collector and collecting and being able to accurately collect orthometric heights and vertical with that. So there's a whole suite of different things on there, and like I said, I'd be happy to, you know, for those of you that are interested in looking at some stuff or looking at different workflows, you know, I'd be happy to get together with you virtually or meet with you at your place of business as well, or outside somewhere convenient for both of us. So so with that, I guess I'll turn it back to you, and see if anyone has any questions for me at all.
We did get a few questions, and also just a reminder, if anybody has a question, just type it into the question chat box so we can see it, and I can then read it to Erin. And then in that same box is where you will find the link that you can copy and paste it out and be able to look at that YouTube video. So the first question we have is, are there any issues with syncing data? Is then talking about like offline versus online connection. So I guess they're asking about is this an online automatic sync, or is this something you collect in the field and then you download back in the office?
Yeah, so and this is kind of a shortened version of a full webinar that we did during the summertime when everybody was going webinar crazy back in that day. You remember those days? It seems like a million years ago, but so this is a shortened video of the full workflow. So so TerraFlex works with a desktop plugin for ArcGIS, and then there's a cloud. It's a cloud-based workflow, and there's a Trimble Connect, which is kind of the middle. That's the web-based repository, basically. So when you're collecting data in the field, it will sync up to Trimble Connect, which is where you can go in and look at the data that's been collected. And then it's kind of, for those of you that are familiar with the ArcCAD workflow, it's like a check-in, check-out. So you can check out the schema that you're using from your geodatabase. So all of your domains and everything, all your drop-downs will come along with it. And then you'll be able to, after you've been able to QC the data in the Connect interface, you can go back in, open up your project in Desktop, and then you can check those changes back in. So, and when you're not connected in the field, yes, it will store on the device until you're able to sync. So basically, you just need to sync up when you log in and load your map up. But then you can continue to collect offline, and there is a full offline workflow too. So for whatever reason, you need to just be completely offline, you can set it up so, similar to like Collector, where you can tile maps and things like that as well, and sync it up and be able to just work completely offline in the field and then come back and sync when you have a connection to the internet again. I hope that answered your question.
And if it didn't, just type in the question and we'll address it again. Next one talks about the laser rangefinder, asking about the distance limits, talking from the tech who's taking the shot to the actual object being sighted in. Are there any distance limits on that?
Typically, you want to be within 100 feet of what you're collecting. The biggest, the reason why we do that, because a lot of these lasers have a built-in compass, but that's probably the weakest link of the whole thing. The lasers themselves are very accurate. The farther away from something you get, the more the accuracy degrades. But the reason why we do that 2-point shot, where you can is so you can take the compass out of the equation, which helps with the accuracy. But if you say like for a tree survey or something, I would suggest trying to stay within 100 feet, maybe 200 feet. I don't have the full range specs, but definitely the closer you are, the better. But you can set up in an open area, use the internal compass and do a one-shot offset where I can collect, everything I have within line of sight. I can collect as a point without having to go to each individual tree or going up underneath canopy or going, up next to a building. So yeah, that I would say the rule of thumb, just, try to stay within 100 feet if you can. The closer you are to something, the more accurate the shot is going to be.
Okay, good one. The next one is kind of related to that, it looks like. The density of the object being sighted with the laser rangefinder, does that matter? Example, a tree versus bushes.
That's interesting. I would say, like, if you're doing a tree, you want to hit the trunk if you can, unless you're trying to get the extent of the canopy or something like that. But yeah, so it's going to hit off the first thing it sees. So if you're hitting like a bush, it may or may not, hit the exact spot that you're aiming at. It might hit, but it should get like the outside edge of the tree, the canopy on the tree. So yeah, I mean, there are limitations. The reflectivity on this is really good though, so it doesn't really matter. Like some people have had trouble hitting things in that are black or things like that, but there doesn't seem to be an issue with this unit for that. But yeah, it's, if you hit a solid object, hit something, it's the smaller something is, the harder it's going to be to focus on when you're looking through the rangefinder itself. But you should be able to, whatever you're seeing those crosshairs hitting is what you're going to get for your shot, basically.
Okay, sounds good. So the denser the better, but even if it's a bush,
Yeah,
it'll get one of the leaves, hopefully.
it'll get something. Yeah, for sure. It's gonna whatever it's gonna hit. It's gonna bounce off of something on the outside edge. It probably won't it's not. It's not like LiDAR where you're shooting like all these thousands of points or whatever. It's basically just a point shot situation. So whatever you're pointing at, it's gonna get. That's what you're gonna get it from.
The next one is talk about can layers be added to the map to be used for reference to the data you're collecting?
Yes, so you can load them in the Connect platform. You can convert them into a shapefile and load them in as a background layer. The map that has, similar to like Collector, you have the imagery is available, or you can do street maps or whatnot. So those standard backgrounds are available, but yes, you can load in background layers in TerraFlex. And then just a side note too, because this just came up with a customer today, is like if you're loading, say if you're using Collector also and you want to have a background layer, my suggestion is always to publish the layer. Just don't make it editable, and you just utilize the background layers that are available to you through the collector platform, because sometimes you have issues with coordinate systems. Like TerraFlex and collector both they work natively in WGS 84, just so that everything can work together without having conflicting coordinate system issues when you're in the field. So typically, like with collector, I would say publish it out as a layer, but just make it not editable, and to have a background. And then with TerraFlex, you would load it separately in the Connect platform. You can load up multiple point, line, polygon shape files and bring them in. There isn't a lot of like symbology involved with it, so you can choose like different colors and things like that. But it's kind of a basic background layer. But yeah, you can load in as much of that as you want. You can also select, like if you have a bunch of features that you want to be edited in the field, you can select, if there's 50 hydrants that need to be inspected, you can select them all in a certain area and then send them out as tasks, and then each task will show up for the field editor, and then as they'll show up as red, and then as they go in and make any changes, they'll turn to green, and then they can kind of go through and check off what they want. So there's a couple different ways that you can bring in, editable and uneditable layers into the field.
Excellent. All right. Well, that does look like all the questions. I don't see any more there. So again, I want to thank you, Erin, for your information and your innovative way to bring us outside when we're all stuck inside looking at our monitors.
Right.
With that, glad it worked out well with it.
We were worried about the video, but I'm glad it worked. And yeah, and thank you for everybody for showing up and coming today and taking time to watch, and look forward to seeing everybody again here in the near future. So.
Definitely. There is one more session that will be starting at 3 o'clock, so check your agenda and make sure you're registered for that session and follow in. Before we close out, again, just want to give one final thanks to our sponsors, because they're making this all happen, and also to our presenters, because without our presenters, we wouldn't have a virtual conference. So thanks again, Erin, for submitting your presentation and sharing your knowledge and information with us.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
With that, we will end the session, and everybody have a good afternoon, and see you at 3 o'clock.